Welcome back, everybody. This is once again a video we filmed during an exclusive capture session of Street Fighter 6, courtesy of Capcom UK. We thank them very much for their time and inviting us down to capture the footage you're about to watch. We've already done a video on Kimberly, and we suggest you watch that if you haven't already. This video focuses on the one and only Ken. Now, Ken plays very much like you would expect from previous games, but there is some new stuff in there, some new special moves, some new bits and bobs that just give him that extra bit of flair, and then you couple it with the new mechanics of Street Fighter 6, you have a very fun character on your hands. So thanks for watching, enjoy the show, and here are some of the early findings with Mustard and myself. So, very much like Kimberly, we go over some of the basic buttons first. This is, again, something that you can kind of just slow down, repeat, rewind, whatever it is you want to do. We cover some of the grounded normals and the jumping normals. This standing medium kick kind of having the advancing properties, that's kind of interesting. And then you have that standing heavy kick, which does seem to have some different properties on maybe a counter hit or maybe catching them in the air, but not anything that we really had time to decipher. But the AI did try and go for a confirm after it.
Yeah, one thing you have to remember is in this game, drive rush is such a big thing because of its forward momentum that if you do a forward advancing button during drive rush, it's only going to make it go like twice the distance or potentially more, but depending on the button. So, you know, Ken known for a lot of rush down, a lot of pressure options. Having that ability to just take those forward advancing buttons even further is going to be quite solid. So hopefully we see that later on. Right now, just going through the specials as you kind of expect. Now, that's where Ken gets really interesting, I think. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's Ken. He's got the Hadouken, he's got the Tatsu, he's got the DP. So he's got the familiar options, but he also has a few more. You know, you get those kind of like meterless options off Tatsu. This right here is a new special. I'll let Ryan talk about it because he's the one that, you know, got hands-on with the character.
Yeah, so it's Dragon Punch input with a kick. Now, this does have some combo properties when you use it out of run, which is a new move that we'll cover in a little bit, but again, didn't really have time to find a lot of uses for it. These are some of his target combos. The medium punch, heavy punch that we all remember is there. This is double medium kick into heavy kick. Again, couldn't really find a lot of uses for it, but it could just be used for like tidy combo enders. I did see the AI kind of link some kind of button off it, but this is the run. This is done by double kicks, just 2 kicks. You can cancel it with light kick. The medium kick will give you an overhead, and then the heavy kick gives you a kind of a step kick, perhaps. You know, again, kind of reminiscent maybe of like the Street Fighter 4 days, kind of like that. It's unsafe at close range, but I think at max range will be one of those things that might be a bit harder to punish. And we're going over some of the EX here as well.
But before we do move on, I want to quickly say about the run. It's very kind of Street Fighter 5 V-skill-esque run, but it also, I've seen other people that had hands-on time say that doing special moves out of the run actually did give them new properties, so that could be interesting.
It does. I think the DP kick is one of the main ones that we actually do see for combos a little bit later. This is another new special, quarter circle forward kick. You get that first initial kick, and then holding forward, you can do light kick, which is a low, medium kick, which is an overhead, and heavy kick, which is kind of used mainly for linking things together. Now, I think mostly that's going to belong to the EX version, which we see a little bit later down the line. This is me kind of trying to see if the medium kick or heavy kick have drive rush ability. It didn't seem like they did, which is a bit of a shame because, you know, they're far-reaching advancing buttons, but some of the more close-range buttons, you can drive rush. These are some of the basic supers. That's the level 1 right there, so side switches, worth keeping that in mind. This was the increased property. You go run into DP kick, and then you get a side switch that will confirm into uppercut. So Ken really, he's a really, really cool character because there's a lot of what you expect of Ken in this moveset, but there's just some extra stuff in there that might make him a bit more interesting. This level 3, by the way, so sick.
Oh, it's probably one of the most satisfying final hits. It's almost like starting out of Bucky, right? Just straight up to the nose.
We saw that for the first time, and we're like, oh, disgusting. But again, this is the EX version of that quarter circle forward kick. Now, I think having the extra hits on there that you can see in front of you, fairly certain that's going to lead itself more into confirming into things like level 2, right? I mean, like, that's what the EX is all about, and this could be quite a ticket to special into super, essentially.
It's interesting to see though, right? When you get those specials with the various options at the end, like, are they going to be different if you use them for, like, you know, drive rush? Are they going to be different for combos? It's hard to know, especially considering neither of us really have a huge history in playing Ken.
Oh, it's kind of AI time.
Oh, okay. No, this is where it's going to get spicy. You know, like
look at this.
Yeah, like we showed in the Kimberly video, we just wanted to see what cool things were possible. So we just went on, like, you know, max level AI Ken, saw some combos, saw what they were doing, and we were not disappointed. We're going to get some real damage out now.
Now, there's a reason I slowed that initial clip down, because, again, as we kind of said in the Kimberly video, when you drive rush into some buttons, it seems to give them a bit of extra frames to confirm. Doing drive rush into that crouching heavy punch, into dash, into cancel, gave you time to pick something up, and I feel like that's going to be quite a ticket to high damage when you're really looking for max damage here. Now, the AI Ken really doesn't mess around. Lots of drive rush into pressure, confirming into light Tatsu, which really is your ticket to getting things into Dragon Punch, for example. This was just rude, to be honest with you. Max level AI doesn't mess around with the impact.
No, if you go for the drive impact, the AI will just respond with its own every single time. And it seemed to be consistent. But even things here, right? You know, we saw a confirm off a light, you know, off a standing light jab there into crouch medium, like getting the advantage off drive rush. I said this before and I'll say it again. It really seems to be, yeah, that seems to be your ticket to just getting big, juicy damage. It's not even like using EX or whatever. It's just hitting drive rush, turning that drive rush into big buttons, and then doing more damage from it because of it. And I think the more we see this played, especially in the beta days, there are going to be some early, especially on like punish counter and things, that's where you're going to start seeing the real optimal combos coming through. At least in like day one.
That's a nice thing to see as well. Like Tatsu, I do not actually have to confirm the Tatsu into the level 2 super. You can let the whole thing rock and then have time, similar to as you just saw there with the EXDP. So like Tatsu, I mean, very similar to Ken in general, right? I think that's going to be quite a ticket to the higher level damage. And just throwing you out of the drive rush because AI is rude like that. But these are some of our more PvP matches. I'm not really much of a Shoto player, but I gotta say, Ken was really fun to just press buttons with. You know, counter poke, EXDP, that classic stuff, the reckless stuff. But I gotta say, really, is that his buttons are kind of nice and free-flowing. Going into target combos, and you've got things like the run, you've got the quarter circle forward kick, the DP kick, which when you start to use it in combos, especially after run, can be super, super satisfying. And kind of watching the AI matches back, I really, really wish I could have had just a little bit more time, because now I'm just thinking that there's so much more I would do, you know?
But that's what I mean when I say it still looks like it's very much the Ken that we expect to see, right? He's got the standing buttons with forward momentum, drive rush is universal, he's got the run, like V-skill back with a similar input from Street Fighter V, he's got high damage, he's got meterless, like, combo options, like, that's what I mean. Like, it's still going to be Ken. You're going to be doing high damage. You're going to be very aggressive, right? He is going to be a rushdown character. I'm just interested to see how his normal style of rushdown fits around all the drive mechanics. Because that seems to be the real core of it, right? It's your character's got their own set of tools, and whether it's familiar or not, you know, whether it's Kimberly with the kind of guy influence, Ken being Ken, obviously, and the other characters that we're seeing from other people that got similar coverage, it's their use of the drive mechanics that really seems to push them forward. And that's the kind of thing that when you're not used to the game, you're not going to instinctively go for them. Unless you're like the AI, where, you know, if you've got a drive bar and you get an option, you'll do it, right? And then you see people like the Li Joe and Yipe sessions that, you know, they're getting a bit more comfortable, so you're seeing a lot of drive rush and stuff like that. Just, I think the potential for this game to explode on day one, especially now we know the beta has training mode, could be huge.
I mean, look, the number one thing I'm going to test is the drive rush into crouching heavy punch, into run, into cancel. Because having that extra amount of hit stun to work with, it's just so sick. Using it on its own, it's like, man, I can't get this. Is the AI doing something that is physically impossible? And then watching the footage back, it came from drive rush. And that's really where the key to everything belonged. So just watching even these AI matches back with what Ken's doing looks really flashy, but not really as complicated as you might think. And this is where I think Street Fighter 6 is going to really shine, because it's not the hardest stuff in the world to execute, but it's incredibly satisfying to do. Yeah, it's not easy, but it's enough to get you hungry to keep playing, right? And to keep practicing. So that's going to be some of the Ken stuff here. Didn't get to explore as much as Kimberly, but still an incredibly fun character and incredibly satisfying to play. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've watched the Kimberly video. If not, we suggest you do. And we'll see you next time. Thank you to Capcom UK. Much love, and we'll see you later.